Being a creative mind and trying to put your emotions and thoughts into art can be somewhat complex and rather difficult to do. First of all, it can be very hard to channel your emotions and thoughts into something physical for others to analyze. And second of all, it can be very hard to be truthful with yourself and honest about the things you want to express. The topic of this video is about some examples of this and tragic tales of artists who, just like you and I, are drawn to extreme metal music, but in some way were interrupted by the hands of fate. A reminder of the darkness within. In the desolate reaches of Cap-de-la-Madeleine, Quebec, amid the chilling embrace of darkness, a group of musicians converged in November 1993 to birth a sound that defied convention and plumbed the depths of human despair. They called themselves Malvery, and their music, an unsettling fusion of experimental black metal, became a haunting testament to the anguish that permeated their souls. Led by vocalist Amer Le Chatier, Malvery embarked on a tumultuous journey through the shadows, channeling themes of suicide, despair, and death into the haunting compositions. From the outset, their path was fraught with turmoil, as they grappled with the tumultuous currents of their own inner demons. In 1994, Malvery unleashed their raw fury upon the world with their debut demo, Suffering Victims. A cacophony of frenzied riffs and guttural screams, it served as a harbinger of the darkness that would come to define their sound. Yet, even as they delved deeper into the abyss, whispers of the musical evolution began to swirl. The following year saw the release of Profund Darkness, a demo that hinted a shift in Malvery's sonic landscape. Described by some as death metal, it marked a departure from the blackened roots, signaling a metamorphosis within the band's tortured psyche. But it was their only official album that would etch Malvery's name into the annals of metal history. Released amidst a maelstrom of anticipation and dread, it bore the weight of their collective anguish, a sonic tapestry woven from the threads of despair. Yet, as fate would have it, this would also mark the beginning of the tragic unraveling. In a twist of fate, as cruel as it was inevitable, Amer Le Chatier, the voice of Malvery, succumbed to the demons that haunted him. His suicide cast a pall of sorrow over the band, shattering their fragile unity and plunging them into darkness. Rumors swirled in the wake of Le Chatier's death, whispers of a band torn asunder yet clinging to life. Some claimed that Vorlord had assumed the mantle of vocalist, keeping Malvery's flame flickering in the gloom. But amidst the uncertainty, one thing remained clear. The void left by Le Chatier's absence could never be filled. And so, with Le Chatier's death, Malvery became a tragic footnote in the annals of music history. Their legacy, a testament to the fragility of the human spirit and the relentless pull of the abyss, continues to echo through the ages. A haunting reminder of the darkness that lies within us all. a horrendous act of violence from an analyst of black metal. Petteri Ilvespakka, a figure shrouded in darkness and infamy, emerged from the quiet town of Pirkala near Tampere in Finland, leaving a trail of chaos and despair in his wake. While details of his early life remain elusive, it was his tenure as the editor of Pure Fucking Hell Scene, originally titled Grey Apple, from his inaugural issue, that thrust him into the spotlight of the underground metal scene. From 1993 to 1996, Ilvespakka wielded his pen like a weapon, delving into the murky depths of extreme metal with unbridled fervor. His scene, a testament to the raw power of the genre, reserved as a rallying cry for misfits and outcasts, a conduit for their collective rage and disillusionment. But behind the scenes lurked a darkness that belied the chaotic energy of Pure Fucking Hell. In the waning days of 1999, Ilvespakka's descent into madness reached a horrifying climax. Arrested and charged with the attempted murder of his neighbor, he stood accused of wielding an axe in a frenzied assault that shocked the quiet confines of his community. As the details of his heinous act emerged, a chilling portrait of depravity began to take shape. Ilvespakka, confused by rage and madness, had unleashed his fury upon an unsuspecting victim, leaving a trail of devastation in his wake. In a swift and decisive verdict, Ilvespakka was found guilty and sentenced to 4 years and 6 months behind bars, a fitting punishment for his unspeakable crimes. Yet, even as he languished in the confines of his prison cell, the specter of his violence continued to haunt the collective consciousness of the metal community. Released in March 2002, Ilvespakka emerged from the shadows once more, a scarred and broken man bearing the weight of his sins. But the echoes of his crime lingered, casting a long shadow over his once promising legacy. Petteri Ilvespakka, the enigmatic editor of Pure Fucking Hell, had become a cautionary tale of the darkness that lurks within us all. Disturbing the graves in the name of Satanism. In June 1996, Michael Wayne Ryan, who performed under the stage name of Zayfan and was associated with the black metal scene, along with an accomplice named William Clark, carried out the disturbing act. They exhumed the body of Yvonne Foyne, a woman who had passed away 2 decades earlier, from a grave in a cemetery in North Richland Hills, Texas. The motive behind this gruesome act was associated with Ryan's extreme beliefs and involvement in the black metal subculture, which often embraced themes of death, Satanism, and antisocial behavior. This incident, along with other criminal activities attributed to Ryan, contributed to his notoriety within both the metal community and law enforcement circles. Ryan's involvement in desecrating graves and other criminal acts eventually led to his arrest and conviction on charges unrelated to the grave desecration. He was later sentenced to prison for his role in a murder case, which further solidified his infamy within the black metal scene. The deadly outcome of a dramatic fixation. Grzegorz Jurgielewicz, known by his alias Karcharoth, was a figure shrouded in darkness and tragedy, his life marred by the relentless grip of mental illness. Born on May 31st, 1976 in the historic city of Wrocław, Lower Silesia, Poland, Jurgielowicz's existence was haunted by the spectre of schizophrenia and other demons that lurked within the recesses of his troubled mind. As the editor of Epitaphium Sign, Jurgielewicz sought solace in the world of underground music, where he found kinship amongst those who shared his passion for the darker realms of metal. Yet, even amongst the cacophony of distorted guitars and guttural vocals, the shadow of his inner turmoil loomed large. In the wake of his tragic demise on April 30th, 2004, the chilling details of its unraveling emerged, painting a portrait of a man consumed by delusions and paranoia. In a harrowing revelation, it was disclosed that Jurgielewicz harbored a sinister plan, one born from the twisted depths of his fractured psyche. In an interview with Rob Darken in 2005, the truth came to light, casting a pall of disbelief over those who knew him. Jurgielewicz had fixated on Fenris, a member of the renowned black metal band Darkthrone, with a fervor bordering on obsession. His delusions warped his perception, leading him to believe that Fenris had wronged him, purportedly stealing a CD in a petty exchange between them. But what began as a trivial grievance developed into a festering wound of resentment and malevolence. Jurgielowicz's descent into madness culminated in a chilling plan to travel to Norway and enact his vengeance upon Fenris. A plan as audacious as it was horrifying. However, the hand of fate intervened, sparing Fenris from the clutches of Jurgielowicz's twisted vendetta. Instead, Jurgielowicz's tortured soul found its final release in a moment of despair as he leaped through the precipice of a towering building in Wrocław, plunging into the abyss below. His death was a tragic epilogue to a life consumed by darkness, a stark reminder of the devastating toll of mental illness and the fragile boundaries that separate sanity from madness. Grzegorz Jurgielewicz, known to some as Karcharoth, now exists as a haunting spectre, a tragic figure lost in the unfathomable depths of his own tortured mind. tragic descent into brutality and madness. Mattias Skårman, known by his pseudonym Carathorn, left a chilling mark on history, his life overshadowed by a macabre sequence of events that culminated in tragedy on February 20th, 2008. Born in the serene town of Leer, Lower Saxony, Germany, in 1976, Skårman's life would take a dark and twisted turn, leaving a trail of horror in its wake. At the age of 32, Skårman would find himself adrift, grappling with unemployment and a sense of purposelessness. But it was his friendship with Bianca S., a 27-year-old nurse, that would ultimately spiral into a nightmarish abyss. What began as a bond of camaraderie turned into a descent into madness. In a fit of incomprehensible rage, Skårman committed an act of unspeakable violence. He strangled Bianca to death, extinguishing her vibrant presence from the world. But his depravity didn't end there. With a machete in hand, he severed her head from her body, an act so barbaric it defied comprehension. Even so, Skårman's descent into darkness was not yet complete. In a bizarre and vulgar state of shock, he captured haunting images of the body and detached head, immortalizing his heinous deeds through the lens of a camera. But not even this was enough to satiate his twisted desires. Setting fire to Bianca's remains, Skårman sought to erase any trace of his abominable crime. And then, with a mind consumed by madness, he embarked on a path of self-destruction. Behind the wheel of his car, he hurtled toward oblivion, careening headlong into the path of an oncoming semi-tractor trailer. The collision was swift and brutal, a violent punctuation mark to Skårman's descent into darkness. His death was ruled as suicide, a tragic end to a life consumed by madness and malevolence. The tale of Mattias Skårman, known to the world as Carathorn, serves a chilling reminder of the depths of human depravity and the darkness that lurks within the human soul. We have gone through 5 stories of musicians in the black metal scene and community that had chilling and tragic pasts behind them. Their influence has left a huge impact and gave us an honest picture of what was going through their minds at the time. Now, we will never really experience their feelings and thoughts, but we do know that they went out of their way to record this music and to share it. That is why these tracks and recordings of the music and their lyrics are very, very important, or at least very special when it comes to music history, especially extreme metal. Especially black metal. This has been part 1 of 2 of a documentary and documentation of bands and their tales by black metal artists. Thank you very much for tuning into these stories. Lights out. Good night.